All right, welcome to another Futures Initiative trading recap. I am back with Dubster, and we're going to recap our trades for today, 9/21, and we're going to dive deep into our analysis using what we previously have spoken about, how about holding our trades, about sticking to our daily bias, and how we are going to improve upon these things in the future. Thank you for joining Dubster. We're so happy to have you. Take it away.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, welcome. So I actually want to talk about a trade that we went ahead and took today. When I was trading early this morning, I was looking into the 4-hour section. So as you guys can see here, and I noticed that price action at this moment was around this area. And based on the strategy that I use that has a healthy order block, there is really nothing that was going on in this section other than a bunch of sell side liquidity in this section. So I knew that at that point, my price action had to drop down, grab all of this liquidity, and possibly have a rejection. I actually wanted to see a much higher rejection, like a much bounce up here retracement, and it didn't actually happen and continue going to the downside. But the good thing about this was that off the 4-hour, we did find this had a fair value gap. The only thing that was iffy about this one was that it already had been played. It came down value gap, balanced it out, touched this order block. It actually entered it and then bounced off before. So the question, he bounce off this 4-hour healthy order block again, or will it not? That was the question I had this morning. Down to the 1 hour, and I wanted to see exactly what was going on in this area. These were all the wicks that were coming down, right? So I noticed this section right here did not have a healthy order block. There's a massive wick to the upside here. But I did notice that this specific zone right here, this guy, this healthy order block that has this massive fair value gap, was never played. As you guys can see, fair value gap got hit here, took off to the upside, but this specific area never got hit off the 1 hour. So instead, what I went ahead today and did, that actually gave me much more confidence in my trade compared to the 4 hours. And I used the GAN box that you guys can see. Grab the GAN box. I actually included the 4-hour healthy order block with the 1 hour healthy order block. Gave myself a medium point, dropped it down, entered here at this position of the 0.5, and I'll drop it down to the 15-minute. This 0.5 position on this specific section here. And during pre-market, when I was watching, it actually rejected off the point. I told myself that as soon as this area, I will get one contract at the 0, one contract at 0.25, and then full position here. But the problem here was that I got distracted. I was charting. I never saw this entry. By the time I was here, I said I figured it was going to go lower. I never entered, and it continued going to the offside. Hit my target. I was trying to hit this fair value gap, and I was kind of upset. Did we know? Market opened, came right back down to this specific area. I took one contract here, just like we said. We started with the one contract, came down here, and we averaged down with two more. And then I never expected well, actually, I did expect this to get hit because this was the 1 hour healthy order block, but I never went ahead and did full positioning. I just stayed with 3 contracts and let it be. Targets dropped down to the 5-minute. I actually hold this position all the way to the upside. Went ahead, trimmed here at the first breakup structure. That was my first contract trim. My second contract trim was definitely here on top of this section. Reason why I trimmed here was because we went above this fair value gap, and I expected this liquidity as a retracement. So as we actually did, came up here, I trimmed here, first contract breakup structure, second here, came down, went all the way to this specific section. And then I told myself, you know what? It's actually going to keep going up to the upside. Reason why it was because when it came down, it never closed this golden pocket section. And when it came down, rejected, and I expected this to go back up higher, but it didn't, right? So since I already trimmed on this specific area on my second trim, I had one contract left, and I really wanted to just hold it and hope for the best at this in this scenario. moved my stop loss to break even. And at that point, came back down. I knew that it never reached this golden pocket, and it just made me feel more secure. I hold it, and next thing we know, went all the way up here, and I took my last final trim here on this specific trade. So lesson of the day was trust your analysis. If you went ahead and thought that you were very efficient with my 4-hour healthy order block, but when it came down to the 1-hour healthy order block, I was actually more confident about this position. And the reason why is because it never got played. The 4-hour did get played, but the 1-hour never got played. And as you guys can see, it actually came down to the 1-hour in this specific area and bounced off. And just on one candle off the 1-hour, we could have made a full profit. Happy about that. Second thing was that we actually did one of our goals that we've been speaking and talking about in this recap sessions, that we want to hold to our targets. And that's exactly what we did today. We trimmed one at the fair value gap, one at the break of structure, and the last run it was at our main targets. So we actually followed exactly the rules that we wanted and we've been speaking about this whole time. Second thing, there's one thing that was very important that we saw today. Price action was around this area for pre-market, right? And when it was around this area, I want to show you guys that I didn't have a healthy order block at all. As you guys can see here, this massive wick eliminated this section for healthy order block. There's no fair value gap, no imbalances. So I didn't like this section here. Came down here, obviously it's been played already. So this was unimportant. And then this specific here, in this specific area here, we see that this guy is the lowest, but there's no fair value gap. So in the end, there is nothing showing around this area. So I figured out what was going on in this. As you guys can see, there's really nothing that I liked. And today when on my community section, where I normally post of my trades, I didn't post anything. And the reason why I didn't post anything was because I didn't have a play. So in the end, I wanted to see exactly what type of play did I want to see. And I noticed that this specific area has a bunch of imbalances. There's nothing but wicks. There's not a single candle that went ahead, came down, and closed fully. So I like this section right here. And I wanted to play off of that specific area. But let me go ahead and drop down to the 1-hour. I believe it was the 1-hour that shows you the full play. Can't remember why I drew that sun then. I could have sworn it was because of that. Oh, right here, found it. There you go. It was the daily imbalance. Perfect. So this imbalance right here is the reason why I drew this specific section. And then as you guys can see, I have a position there for the upside, and my position is set at the 0.5. Boom. Yes. And this is exactly what I really wanted to play today. So I stayed true to my strategy. I did not play, or I did not post a trade regarding this area, and I did not have a setup. The only setup I did have was the one down here. And little did we know, price action actually came all the way down here. And now during pre-market, I'm expecting this to come a bit lower, take a rejection zone from here, either in pre-market and go back up, or if we don't, and if we stay around this area, I would like to play this tomorrow. And if it comes back down, grasp me here, I'll take the risk, enter at the 0.5, and then continue on the upside. So this is just something I would like to go ahead and play. There is one more thing I would like to talk about. On the ES, one of the members and I were talking about how this specific area on the 4-hour chart, so we're going to go to the 4-hour frequency, we went ahead and noticed that there is a healthy order block in this section right here. As you guys can see, order block right here, fair value gap plus a liquidity void, right? And the question was asked was, once it gets bounced off from rejecting, once that healthy order block gets played, can we play it again? And the answer to that was no. The reason why I thought and I said no was because it has already been mitigated. It's been played already. So at that point, I see a higher chance, a higher probability of it actually coming down and rejecting. and not rejecting, I mean penetrating from here. And that's exactly what happened today. Now, have I back tested this to be true? I have not, but let's say if you actually were to enter the trade, came down here, 0.5, your entry would have been the 0.5, you would have still been green. But let's say if our target was the break of structure, which I did draw out, we would have never hit our main targets. And if we were in this specific area, this set, we would have never been wicked out and we would have lost our trade, not in the red, but definitely we would have never taken profit on a second trim. So if anything, at this point, we would have trimmed first trim around this area here. There's most likely a fair value gap there. Let's see. Well, in the break of structure trim, and then I would have wanted to target this break of structure. I would have never gotten out. It would have came back down, as you guys can see, and it would have worked me out on my last two contracts at stop break even. Break even reason why is because we already trimmed at our first break of structure. So in the end, it would have still been a green trade, but I didn't have that much of a high confidence in this specific area because it had a. So I just thought it was kind of a good thing to just note there that sometimes when a specific play is already been played out, maybe it's we should be more cautious about it and not go heavy on our setups in this case. What do you think, Quant?
I completely agree. So I like how you have the Gambach setup for the 50%. I like how you went through the Fibonacci. I like how you went through the fair value gap. I like how you went through, saying, okay, if it reaches X point, that is when we get out. These rules are what is going to guide us to profitability. Okay, the
Yep.
road to profitability is very seldom traveled because we are hopeful when we're losing and we're fearful when we're winning. Don't quote me on that. I was actually scrolling through Instagram and I found that and I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. That helps us to better understand what we're doing, to better understand how we can kind of reverse that mindset. Whereas we have our levels of where and our price points of where we know we're going to get out of a trade. We know when we're going to force ourselves to stay in because our plan is still intact.
Yep.
So I think it's incredible. It was an awesome trade. I was there with you when you took it. It was phenomenal. I think you, me, and Mango all took the same trade at the same time, but we all held it a bit differently.
Yes. Yep.
I I'm still on the scalpy scalp, and I'm working towards holding them longer and longer and longer. So let's let me go ahead and share my chart real quick. So different color scheme today, guys. We're not having the Christmas colors since Christmas did not come early for everyone. It came early for the market makers, but did not come early for everyone else. So with that being said, as we can see, today dropped like a rock from pretty much 2 a.m. Eastern on down was 300 bars. And it was almost a straight line down with a reversal coming now, which we are glad to see. But what I really wanted to focus on was looking at the higher time frame. So I looked at the daily fair value gaps, the weekly fair value gap down here, and then even right in this weekly fair value gap, there's a monthly fair value gap. That is something I definitely wanted to take a look at because for many reasons. One being we have a lot of liquidity left to go to on the downside. We also have a lot of liquidity left on the upside too, mainly being right here from September 1st. We can see all the wicks right on top, a lot of institutional orders sitting right above here, at least on the 4-hour chart. Now let's go down to the 1 hour. So the 1 hour, you see this, it looks great. Nice little run up, potentially a retracement, and then a run up to even further. We have this liquidity up here from yesterday, from early morning, that I believe we are going to take out, but we have not many fair value gaps on the 1 hour until we retrace at least 200 bars, which is baffling to really think about. But what does that tell us, right? So the lack of fair value gaps tells us something as well. It tells us that that entire leg down was pure liquidity seeking. It was a run on liquidity. But it also tells us when it swings back, we should expect large momentum as well. So, with that being said, I actually am noticing a fair value gap right up here at around, what is that? 15,045. I would like to see price run back to there. If it does, great. If it doesn't, okay, we can adjust. We are still in a bearish mindset based on the monthly chart. Let me go ahead and take a look at this. Right. So this is NQZ, the December contract. But let's go to NQ1 to really get a better idea of what we're looking at. Here we are. See, we had our breaker candle right here, give us an indication to go to the downside for the bearish order block. So we've come up. We're going to retrace down a little bit, down into the monthly fair value gap as shown here. So we are bearish until around 14.6. That is when we are no longer bearish. Outside of that, we expect then to see liquidity on the upside be taken. So we can see that there are a lot of orders to the upside right up here that are ready to be run through. So I would like to see that retracement down a little bit and then that pop. So now that we have our monthly bias, let's go down to the weekly. All right, this is a setup we have seen so many times. You get the run up, the run down, close the fair value gap, liquidate a bit, run up, consequent encroachment of the order block, and then head straight down. Now, we are expecting this liquidity void to be taken down here. So this is a liquidity void on the daily. Mind you, consequent encroachment of that is the fair value gap on the monthly. So very interesting how everything here is aligning. So I would expect this to be taken out, but so we're bearish on the monthly, bearish on the weekly. Let's break it into the daily. Okay. With that being said, we do have upside liquidity on the buy side up here. I would love to see that be run upon. And then like to see the run down. So a small retracement up and then a run all the way down. If you see, we have come to the breaker candle here. Right to the bottom of it, and it looks ready to go. All right. It's ready to go. It's good to go. I believe we might drop a bit further, maybe to 14.81 or 14.11, and then take it to the upside, rejecting out the monthly fair value gap, or even running a little bit past and coming straight down. So we have our bias on the monthly, weekly, daily, and now the 4 hour. This was one I was really trading upon. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to NQZ, where we have our 4 hour fair value gaps drawn. You see how they overlap with the daily fair value gaps?
Yep.
That is meant, and especially these two, that just gives me so much confluence that okay, this is definitely getting run through. No doubt in my mind. Because we
Hmm.
have all these fair value gaps starting to overlap on top of the same zone, that just tells me, oh, this is an area where price is surely to run back to. But where are we? But when is he going to run back to it? And how long do we expect to for that to take place? So we saw on the 4 hour, we had all this liquidity to the downside, especially these two candles. That's what we wanted to see. We also wanted to see mean threshold of the order block be respected. Top to bottom, you can see that the bodies are just touching that 0.5, which is permissible. It is permissible.
Yep.
But I believe that that is going to help us with even more upside because now we have more 4 hour fair value gaps all the way up. So what have we seen in situations like this? Let's just look to the past. Let's look at this. We've seen this setup before. Get that aggressive drop with the order block right below it. Look at that. So what are you going to expect? A run up, liquidate, come above the highs up here, consolidate, maybe come back down a little bit, retrace, and then you're going to get the explosive movement. So my expectation is that we come all the way up, we retrace a little bit, maybe to the 0.75, close out the fair value gap, balance out that price, that area of price, move all the way up, come down, and we're going to consolidate for a minute and then have the massive run. Okay. So
That makes sense.
is that going to happen in a week? Probably not. Is it probably going to happen in 2 weeks? Probably not. 3 weeks? Probably. But at the end of that 3 weeks, we should see the real pitfall. And then I think we're going to start to get into the Santa Claus rally towards the end of the year, where we're going to see these larger fair value gaps be taken. So that is my setups for the week. Let's hop into the 15-minute chart. Let's talk about that. Beautiful setup this morning. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. You had the run up, the Judas swing. It comes down, fails to break the high, 1030, rinsed all the way down. Came back, consequent encroachment, permissible, and that's when the final leg down happened. Beautiful play, wonderful entry. We actually, I was looking at puts at here, but I took calls as soon as we got around here, around the about the 14.93 range. I took calls, let it run against me a little bit, and then we took it all the way up. Came down, we took it back all the way. So that was great for options. For futures, I was scalping my way down. So I saw this run up. I saw this major candle down. Took a position here with my stop loss at consequent encroachment or just passed. I knew if we came back to consequent encroachment, we're dead. Like this thing is going to continue down. We've seen it happen the past couple days. I wanted to hedge my losses. So I went in with 8 micros, which I added enough to it to make it 2 minis. Took it all the way up for about 30 bars, about 35 bars. I was proud to have held that, because for me to hold that was it's been difficult for me to hold the contracts for as long as I would like. It's something I'm working on, having a lot more patience, but it paid out today. We passed an account. We were able to make over $700 on our performance account, and that's a fantastic start. But now it's time to really focus on the fundamentals.
Yep.
So I took this trade here. Then I got out right at the break on top. I wanted to hold it more, but I said, you know what? Why should I continue to risk profit? We're here. We have profit. Let's take it. Let's run. We're good. So that was play one. Now, play two came after we failed to take out the high. I took a play to the downside with my stop just above the high. I took that with 3 micros. And then I added enough into it as it retraced against me. I took it down here. Yeah. I added enough that anytime it went against me, I added 3 more. Anytime I went negative, every 10 ticks, I added 3 more. 3 more. Got up to around 20. So 2 minis. Then took that all the way down for a nice $400 profit. Then I made a dumb mistake that I knew I should not have done, and this was a part of overtrading that I was not proud of. I tried to catch it down here. And let me tell you, I caught that with 4 minis. Almost erased my entire profit. One candle almost erased my entire profit. And I got stopped out. So took a step back, said, look, this is not the time to be doing this. Okay. It's not the time to be over trading, to be playing nonsensical, to be messing around with this account. You've worked hard to get this account. Let's appreciate it and let's act like we know what we're doing. Okay. So that was when, got it together, said, look, I'm only going to take a trade if it matches all my setups. If it matches, and we're coming to a break of structure, we're coming down to a fair value gap, we are failing to create a new low or a new high, and we're continuously testing, creating a higher low or a lower high. So we saw that here. So this was my redeeming factor. Coming back right here. I went in with 15 micros. Had a very, very short stop loss. Yeah, I had a less than a 10 bar stop loss on 15 micros. All I wanted to do was to get to consequent encroachment. That's all I wanted to do. My entire goal was to get to consequent encroachment, and that was it. We had failed to create a lower low. We had an immediate rebalance. We had a failure to break the lows of the day. So that tells me we have all this liquidity on top. We are aiming to take that liquidity. And that is exactly what we did. We went and took liquidity up here, took out the short-term highs, and As soon as we got above or to meet threshold or consequent encroachment of this candle, this long wick, I got out. I said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out. Shut my charts, traded on a sim account, disconnected all my live accounts. That was until Mango joined back in, came back with the let's full port, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, Mango, I just I just got my mindset right. And you come at me with this. So I was like, all right, Mango, you know what? It's $36. Fine. Let's have some fun. For $36, we can have a really good time. So it was right here. It was wicking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, Mango, this is not the time. This is not the time. This is really not the time. She's like, no, I got it. Burnt all the Apex accounts, I believe, on this wick. And I was like, Mango, I told you it was not the time. I saw what was happening here. I'm like, oh, yes, this is my setup. This is it. This is what I like. Took this candle down, passed the accounts. Well,
But she
well,
burned them.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, she burnt them on this wick. Like, look, this is a setup on a 5-minute chart. You're going to tell me that this is bullish? No. This is gonna be bullish for potentially tomorrow. I mean, if this is not targeted tomorrow, I don't know what we're doing. But yeah, she got wicked out on like this one, and I was like, ooh, okay, I'm gonna let a couple more wicks go by. I let this wick go by. I was like, ooh, this wick go by, entered. Now, did this run? It ran about $300 against me, which is 6 ticks. I'm like, okay, this is bad. The account's gonna be burnt. The account is gonna be so burnt. I'm not gonna know what to do with myself. The account's gonna be burnt. Well, lo and behold, ran straight down, and we passed it. Passed the account in one fell swoop. Took it, ran with it, said we're done with it. So it was fantastic. It was an awesome setup. But one thing I really learned from this, after you've made profit on a trend to the downturn, stop trying to take another play. Let the play run.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest things I gleaned from today, because as soon as I let the play come to me, it was easy. It was easy. I was in and out of play in 10 minutes with a brand new account. It was great to see that, and being able to really trust my bias that we had established yesterday. But I know that was a lot to explain. But after that, I even shut down my trading view. I said, look, my trading view has to go. All this has to go. My computer must be shut down. I put it across the room, said, okay, we're done. We're done. But what are your thoughts on the plays, the setups, the analysis, the trading? What are your thoughts, Dubs?
Um, I like the setup that the fact that those 5-minute wicks look insanely long means there's a lot of selling pressure there, right?
Right.
I actually took one trade and I got off the charts. Didn't trade after that. And so I never saw exactly how the market looked until I got home today. But I think it's incredible how it looks right now on the 5-minute. I don't think I've ever seen that. I mean, I haven't been trading for a long time, but the fact that it looks like that, I think it's nuts. It's just solid to the side.
I
bunch of
know.
wigs. That's crazy to me.
Like,
Um,
if we wanted to, I mean, this kind of looks like a crown. Like we're about to crown the bulls.
the pyramid.
But I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I think this was the plays were solid. Yeah, that's how pretty much I have. I don't have any questions today. We all went green today. I I,
Absolutely.
I believe Mango did end up green for the day either way.
He did. I don't care if she burnt those accounts. She took an incredible play afterwards, which kudos to her. She's doing phenomenal, and
Yeah, she did.
I'm proud of her. You know what? She has come such a long way, and no, I mean, truthfully, we have all come such a long way on our journey to becoming profitable traders that this was just another feather in her cap of I can do this. This is reinforcing the idea that I know I can be a profitable trader,
Hmm.
which is awesome. So I got nothing but good things to say about that, except for I also wish I caught that play, but you know what? There there will be more.
Yeah, yeah, they will be.
Absolutely. Well, Dubster, I want to thank you so much for joining us again. It has been a pleasure. And as always, I welcome any analysis. I welcome any ideas, thoughts, questions, concerns, and I'm excited for us to continue growing. I mean, we are growing at a rapid pace. I mean, we're implementing these changes in a spectacular fashion.
Yeah, I think saying these things out loud and recording them has actually helped because now in the end, what say, oh, I couldn't handle it. I got out too early and not respecting what I'm saying. And that's actually has been helping because when I'm in the trade, I said I was gonna hold this shit and I'm holding these things no matter what, you know? So I want to be able to say, you know what, this is what I did today, guys. I actually went ahead and followed my rules. And that's the whole point of trading is like you have to follow your rules. And that's exactly what we should all be doing.
I completely agree. If we can't follow our rules, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to get a little sign that says this many hours since we broke our rules.
2 minutes ago.
Exactly. But I believe we are out of time, Dubster. Thank you so much, and I look forward to having you on again.
Yeah, thank you so much.